Welcome to Happy Creating with Mrs. G. Today I'm going to show you how to draw a rainbow, and then in the background we're going to do a watercolor technique with salt. Remember, if you like creating with me, please subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. I'm going to start by drawing a curved arch that starts at the bottom left hand of the paper and then stretches to the right hand side of the paper. I like drawing in pencil first so that if I make a mistake, it's easy to go back over with my eraser and fix it. But I'll try to do each step with pencil and then Sharpie so you can really see. Next, I'm going to draw two curved lines for the ear and two curved lines for the inside of the ear. And I'm going to do that on both sides of my reindeer. And then I'm going to trace with Sharpie. Please feel free to pause the video at any time to give yourself a little bit more time to draw. Next, I'm going to draw the reindeer antlers. Again, I'm going to go back to my pencil, draw a curved line, like a very thin arch, with another very thin arch coming up the outside of the reindeer antler. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, but with just the antler facing the other way. When I trace in Sharpie this time, I'm going to make sure that I draw only the outside edges of the reindeer antler, so it looks like it's all one piece. I can always go back in and erase any of my pencil lines that are still there. Now I'm going to draw the eyes. With my pencil, I'm going to draw an arch, and then I'm going to make that arch thick. So my reindeer looks like it's kind of blinking. I'm going to do the same thing for the other eye. Next, I'm going to draw the nose. A big oval with a circle in the middle, and then two ovals on each side for the cheek. Then I'm going to trace over it with my Sharpie, making sure to make those pencil lines really bold and stand out. And I'm even going to use the Sharpie to color in my eyes. I'm going to color my eyes so they're all black. So after you finish tracing in, or tracing all of your pencil lines, go back with your Sharpie marker and color in those black eyes. Now use crayons to color in the cheeks pink. I colored in the nose red. And then I started to color in the fur different colors of brown. Take your time and just choose the colors that you would like to use for your reindeer. And then when you're all done coloring, we're going to start the background. Choose two of your favorite watercolors and get them really juicy and wet in the paint palette. I'm going to teach you a wet on wet watercolor technique. So the first thing that you need to do is get your paper wet. So just using water, paint your paper where you want the background paints to go. Then dip your paint color and watch how that wet paint spreads on the wet paper. So that's why it's called a wet on wet technique. And the reason you're choosing two colors is so those two colors can blend together. We're also going to be using salt in this process. As the salt dries on the watercolor, it almost appears as if it's crystallizing. It almost then appears in your background there will be snow. So you're going to continue this process in your background until the entire background is painted. So again, that wet on wet technique means make sure your paintbrush is clean and then paint your paper first with water. And then start dropping in those two colors that you got really, really wet. It helps if the two colors are next to each other on the color wheel and not opposite. So then if they're opposite, you would kind of get a muddy look. But if the colors are next to each other on the color wheel, it'll help them blend together. You also want to put the salt on your painting when it's wet. That way it'll have time to dry and really start to crystallize. So every once in a while I add salt to the wet areas that have paint on top of them to start that really cool technique. So just keep going, painting that background with the wet on wet technique, remembering to add salt every once in a while the paint is still wet. You're really going to enjoy how the background looks as it dries. Make sure you give it time to dry to see that crystal effect or that snow-like effect in your background. So I hope you've enjoyed painting and drawing a reindeer with me today. Remember to give it some time to dry and you'll really enjoy your cute reindeer with a watercolor background. Happy creating!